Donald Trump, as anyone named Donald Trump will tell you, loves the Lord, he loves church, he loves to worship, he loves the Bible, and most of all, he loves the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, and yet somehow he can recite the entire Cheesecake Factory menu by heart.
I'd like to be Pope. That would be my #1 choice.
Donald Trump wants to be Pope. No, seriously, he actually said it. And of course, Jimmy Kimmel didn't let that slide. What was meant to be a solemn moment at the Washington National Cathedral quickly turned into something quite different. Cameras caught Trump nodding off, fidgeting, and looking like he had accidentally stumbled into the wrong church. It didn't take long for the internet to catch fire. Memes, jokes, and commentary poured in, but one of the most brutal and hilarious roasts came from Kimmel. And this time, it wasn't just Trump in the spotlight. Sitting right next to him was Melania, and let's just say her behind-the-scenes reaction to Jimmy's monologue. Went nuts. Doesn't even begin to describe it.
So great to finally have an energetic young president again.
Let's all dedicate themselves to governing in our land. Fill them with the love of truth and strength to uphold our democracy and the rule of law. Enable us to be a people at peace among ourselves and a blessing to other nations of the world. May we serve you faithfully in our generation.
That was our president sleep farting his way through a...
Over 90% of people watch without subscribing. It's free for you, but it means a lot to us. If you're enjoying this, a quick like and subscribe really helps more than you know. Now, back to Jimmy Kimmel, because he didn't just talk about the moment, he staged it. He let the bishop's words play in full, then cut to Trump's face, which said everything without saying a word. Then came the punchline. That was our president sleep, arting his way through a sacred service. And it landed, because it didn't come out of nowhere. This is the same man who claims to love the Bible, who says he loves church, and who once said the Lord's Prayer was his favorite. It wasn't just satire. It was a subtle reminder of who was sitting in the front row and what he chose to do with that moment. But if that wasn't awkward enough, Trump's next holy appearance came at the funeral of Pope Francis. And yes, Jimmy was there for that one too. Let's just say, he didn't let it slide.
Trump announced that he will be attending the Pope's funeral. He said they're looking forward to being there, like he got tickets to Coachella or something. What are the chances Trump declares himself Pope?
Trump said he was looking forward to the Pope's funeral. Jimmy Kimmel compared it to scoring tickets to Coachella, a sacred farewell turned into what sounded like a front-row pass to a music festival. Jimmy didn't need to say it was disrespectful. He just called it Coachella and let the silence do the rest. Then he asked, what are the chances Trump declares himself Pope? And the unsettling part? It didn't feel like a punchline, it felt like a mirror. Because in the world Trump has built, attention is the holiest thing of all. And even a funeral becomes just another stage, another altar for the spectacle.
Even though the Vatican dress code specifically recommended a dark suit for the service, Trump showed up in his bluest blue suit. Something from the Cedric the Entertainer funeral collection. If Obama wore in a blue suit to the Pope's funeral, Sean Hannity's head would explode inside Trump's ass. The fact that he was the only person not wearing a dark suit did not go unnoticed.
Jimmy didn't have to spell it out. He just pointed at the suit and gave it a name. Something from the Cedric the Entertainer funeral collection. The humor wasn't just in the line, it was in the contrast. Everyone else showed up in muted tones, respectful, by the book. Trump? He showed up in something straight out of his personal color palette, like he was at a different kind of event altogether. But Jimmy wasn't just roasting a fashion choice, or poking fun at partisanship. He was calling out the double standard. Because Trump didn't just bend the rules, he made breaking them part of the performance. And somewhere along the way, that became the point.
They had to send the president instead. President Trump flew to Rome to pay his respects and also to see if he could get a deal on the Pope Mobile to drive around his golf course. It was a moving tribute to the recently deceased Pope Francis, a man beloved by Catholics and others around the world. I have to say, I knew this would happen. I predicted it when he went to the funeral. He saw all the gold at the Vatican. He thought, I can live here. This feels right to me.
Was it disrespectful? Jimmy never said. He didn't have to. The punchline didn't ask for permission. It just landed. He didn't accuse Trump of exploiting a funeral. He simply mentioned the Pope Mobile and let the image of a golf course finish the sentence. Get a deal on the Pope Mobile. That wasn't just a joke. It was a lens. And when he imagined Trump eyeing the Vatican gold and thinking, I could live here, it didn't sound like fantasy. It felt like a pattern. The robe, the building, the spotlight. Jimmy wasn't mocking faith. He was holding up a mirror, showing us what happens when a brand walks into a sanctuary and sees real estate.
And then the president either went deep in prayer or deep asleep. I don't know. Meanwhile, our former president, Joe Biden, was there too, and he was chatting people up like he was a greeter at Walmart. He was all over everything.
From the Pope Mobile joke to the bright blue suit to a president who may or may not have been asleep, Jimmy didn't need to spell out the tone Trump brought to the Pope's funeral. It spoke for itself. Was he deep in prayer or just deep asleep? Either way, the contrast was sharp. Biden was active, present, connecting with people. Trump showed up, but somehow gave the impression he was still waiting for the cameras to roll. And as the sermon echoed through the cathedral, Jimmy teed up the next scene, when someone finally turned to Trump and asked what he thought.
Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no. They could do much better.
He is a deeply religious man. And so after the service, a reporter asked him what he thought of it. Turned out not much.
What did you think of the service?
What did you think? Did you like it? Did you find it exciting? Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
They could do much better.
Can you imagine being mad at church? I mean, what the? Like he got stuck going to see the Emoji Movie or...
If you're seeing what we're seeing,
hit subscribe and stay with us. And the bishop called for mercy for immigrants, the LGBTQ community, for kids afraid of what comes next. Trump heard it and reviewed it like a bad show, just not too exciting, because he wasn't there to listen. He was there to rate. So Jimmy didn't need to explain why it was wrong. He just compared it to the Emoji Movie and made Trump sound like a man who got mad the snacks ran out. A sermon was delivered, and Trump reviewed it like a producer watching a first cut. That wasn't critique. That was confusion between morality and momentum, between liturgy and ratings.
They may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
New executive order. We are banning church. Hey, Bishop, please, all right? We don't go to church to hear a lecture about having mercy on the less fortunate. That's not what church is for. And Trump was like, I only came here because I heard there were free crackers, and now I'm getting roasted by Tig Notaro.
So Ronnie came in, not to rewrite Trump, but to translate him. The sermon wasn't off topic. It was too on target. And Trump tuned out like a dinner guest waiting for dessert, wondering why anyone brought up morality in the first place. Jimmy didn't have to accuse him of anything. He just pointed out what set him off. It wasn't judgment. It wasn't politics. It was compassion, coming from the wrong direction. She forgot her MAGA hat. That line landed because it revealed everything. In Trump's world, mercy only counts if it comes from his side. Every sermon must pledge loyalty. Every prayer has to pick a side.
And we've seen how things have been going between him and Melania lately. So when Trump reached out, I know that he had to be disappointed that the Pope wouldn't hold his hand either. Poor guy, he just wants to be loved. He just wants to be touched, that's all.
Trump didn't go to the Pope's funeral to listen. He went to be seen. But as Jimmy pointed out, when he reached out, the Pope didn't take his hand, just like Melania didn't before. Two figures, one spiritual, one personal, both quietly rejecting the same gesture. He just wants to be touched. And Jimmy didn't mock that loneliness, he exposed the performance behind the reach. Because Trump wasn't reaching for connection, he was reaching for recognition. He was mocked on live television by Jimmy, by Ronnie, even by a sermon he couldn't control. And when the camera cut to Melania, she didn't flinch. She didn't speak. That silence? That was the headline. Melania said nothing. But in that moment, silence wasn't neutral. It was heavy with meaning. Standing next to a man who weaponized immigration, Melania wasn't just the First Lady. She was a foreign-born spouse, and by Trump's own policy logic, her own child wouldn't be exempt from those harsh rules. As the bishop called for mercy, Melania didn't blink. She didn't speak. She didn't even move a finger toward her husband's hand. Maybe she feared being dragged into the spotlight. Or maybe she knew something deeper, that in that church, mercy didn't come with conditions.
White House press secretary pushed back. She said the president looked great and presidential alongside our stunning First Lady, who was, as usual, dressed perfectly for the occasion. And she's right about Melania. I don't know about stunning, but she definitely looks stunned. Show them together, because this is the happiest I've ever seen these two together. It's like they're on their second honeymoon or something.
After the bishop's sermon, Trump looked stiff. Melania looked away. But instead of addressing the tone of the service, the White House responded like they were reviewing a red carpet moment. Stunning, presidential, perfectly dressed. Jimmy didn't bother to contradict them. He just showed the footage. A president who'd just been called to show mercy, standing frozen next to a First Lady who looked like she'd rather be anywhere else. And yet, this was the image Melania chose to defend. A hand not held, a face not moved. A couple posing through a sermon about fear and compassion. When Jimmy joked, "Second honeymoon," the laugh came easy because the image said the exact opposite.
Here's the thing. I'm sure he did do it to be funny and to make everyone who doesn't like him mad. But what he seems to keep forgetting is he's the president of the United States. Doing funny things that make people mad isn't his job. It's my job. I know he's a deal maker. This is my offer. You stop making fun of the Pope, and I won't tank the world economy, okay? Let's stay in our lane. Because there's no one in the world who wants this other than you.
This wasn't just a joke. It was Jimmy's final turn of the knife. A sharp, controlled pivot that reframed the whole spectacle we'd just witnessed. Throughout the video, we saw Trump show up to a funeral in a bright blue suit, ignore the bishop's call for mercy, remain untouched by the solemnity of the moment, and get defended, not for his actions, but for his outfit. Now Jimmy pulls it all together. Trump might think he's trolling the press. He might think it's all just a show, but Jimmy reminds him, asterisk, you're not on stage anymore, you're on the clock, asterisk. Doing funny things that make people mad? That's not your job, it's mine. This is where comedy meets accountability. Because when a world leader blurs the line between president and performer, satire becomes the only mirror left. Trump didn't need to cause outrage at a funeral. He didn't need to overshadow a pope with a photoshopped robe. But he did, because he still treats the presidency like a spotlight. In the end, it wasn't about a suit, or a photo, or even a sermon. It was about presence, what people bring into a sacred space. A bishop spoke about mercy. A president stood still, a First Lady stayed silent, and the reactions, from the press room to the pulpit, revealed more than any speech ever could. Jimmy didn't have to raise his voice. He just reminded us that moments like these deserve clarity, not performance. Because when the stage is global and the moment is solemn, it's not about looking the part, it's about showing up for real. Before we wrap, it's worth noting that discussions around Trump's controversial church photo op and reactions from figures like Melania and Jimmy Kimmel have sparked plenty of public commentary, satire, and strong opinions. This video reflects what's already out there in the media spotlight. It doesn't aim to confirm or exaggerate any private response. We're here to reflect the moment, not define it. So, if this gave you something to laugh at or think about, feel free to subscribe and stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching.